In this tutorial, we'll take a look at the questions for solving multi-step equations on the DeltaMath homework assignment number 2. Let's get started. The first topic is two-step equations with decimals. Remember, when you're solving an equation, you'll be using inverse operations. So as you're writing your sentence, I'll rewrite it up here. We're going to focus first on the side that has more terms. So that would be this side, which has 2 terms. This one is a constant term. This one is a variable term. So I know that one of them needs to be combined with something on the other side of the equation. This is the other side of the equation. This is a constant term. This is a constant term. So in order to combine them, they need to be moved to the same side of the equal sign. So since this side has more items, I'm going to move this 3.2 to the left-hand side. I do that by using an inverse operation. So I'm going to subtract the constant 3.2 from both sides. This is an additive inverse, which gives me a sum of 0. Now I could write the 0, but I don't need to because there's still another term on this side. So 2.2y remains, a positive 2.2y. Over here, when you have 2 negatives, you actually add the sum together here, or you can use your calculator. In order to do that, you would open your calculator. You would type using this negative sign down here in the lower right, negative 3.4, and then the subtraction sign for 3.2. Right? The sum of negative 3.4 and negative 3.2 is negative 6.6, and that's what I would write here. Because my remaining term on the right-hand side with my variable is a coefficient, this is a coefficient right here. 2.2 is a coefficient. So the inverse operation of multiplying, that's the invisible operation, is dividing. Again, pick up your calculator if you need to. Negative 3. And this is a multiplicative inverse, which gives me an invisible 1. So once you are completed, here, you type negative 3 into the response, and you submit your answer. It will provide you with a green checkbox, and it will also show you the way that they solved it. In a question like this, you would start the same way. Negative b divided by 0.2 plus 2.6 equals 9.1. I'm going to go back and modify this here. I put the negative b in the numerator. Let me fix this up a bit. You'll notice here they have the negative sign on the side. A negative sign on the side of a fraction can be placed either in the numerator or in the denominator. Doesn't matter, but you can only place it in one location. So I'm going to put it down here because I know that number needs to be removed and I'd like that negative sign to go with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove my constant, negative 2.6, cross off my inverses, rewrite what remains, b divided by negative 0.2, and 9.1 minus 2.6 is 6.5. All right, the next step will be to clear this denominator, which is dividing by negative 0.2, and the inverse of dividing is multiplying. Let me change my inverse color here, so I'm going to multiply both sides by this exact number, negative 0.2. So these are multiplicative inverses, which gives me an invisible 1, which I'm going to leave off, right? That's really what's happening there. So I'm going to leave that 1, that denominator of 1 off. And then over here on the other side, 6.5 times negative 0.2. So to speed up this process, 6.5 times negative 0.2, I'll use my calculator, and I get negative 1.3. Negative 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. 1.3. Now what we'll do is we'll type that in the answer box and we'll submit. All right, let's take a look at the next section. Two-step equations with fractional coefficients. All right, for this sentence here, -3/7 equals -1/5 c minus 1/3. I'm actually going to take a quick screenshot here so that I have a lot more white space to write. All right, this is the constant, so I'm going to remove this by adding it to both sides. Now, I could certainly try and find common denominators and do this math myself, but there is no need when we have these fancy calculators. So again, I'm going to use my fraction button, which is right here under the alpha F1 key. So the F1 function is green, so I have to press the alpha button, then the y equals button. There's my fraction menu. So I've got -3, arrow down, 7. Then I'm going to arrow to the right to get out of that fraction. I'm going to add another fraction, alpha, y equals, and 1, arrow down, 3. Press enter. -2/21. So -2/21. And now I'm going to clear my coefficient. Now the opposite of multiplying is dividing, but we don't divide by fractions. We multiply by the reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal. So that's going to give me a +10/21 equals c. And because 10 and 21 don't have any common factors, that's how I'm going to leave my answer. So let's go back and take a look here. Annotate, clear my annotations, and I'm going to get 10/21. Awesome. All right, let's take a look at the third topic, three-step linear equations. All right, with these questions, we have variables on both sides. When you have variables on both sides, there are so many ways to start this problem. But I generally like to start with my variable terms, because sometimes the variable can disappear on you, and I kind of want to know that right away. So I'm going to start by bringing both of my variables over here to the right side. I'm going to do that because I want my variable to stay positive, because it's what I prefer. But it might not be what you prefer. You may prefer your variables on the left. Now my right-hand side has more than one term, right? 2 terms. So because this side is a constant, I need this constant to come over there to be combined. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. And now I'm going to clear my coefficient by dividing both sides by 3. And I get my final answer, which is -5. This is not the only way to solve this question. There are 4 different ways you can solve this question. You could have started by doing this instead. You could have did -5x on both sides. Right? You could have written a -5x on both sides. You also could have added 7 first to both sides. Or you could have subtracted 8 first from both sides. All of those would be completely correct. So -5 is our solution. We'll type that in here and submit. All right, let's take a look at our last topic, linear equations with distribution. This one requires that you clear these parentheses before you start combining like terms. So over here on the left, I'm going to multiply this coefficient outside to get a new first term and a new second term. Notice a -3 times a -1 is +3. Once I distribute, the parentheses disappear, and I rewrite the remainder of the question. Now the left-hand side of this equation has 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. And you need to combine as many terms as possible. So like terms or variable terms can be combined, and constant terms can be combined. -6x minus 3x is -9x. +3 and -4 is -1. Now I can start using my inverse operations. I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and then I'm going to divide both sides by -9, leaving me with my final answer of x is equal to -2. Type that in, and you're all set. All right, I think that's enough to get you going. Good luck.